Andy Farrell has started his Six Nations campaign with Ireland pretty effectively, and that was a hard ask to do. Ireland are a team that are used to winning. They are used to scenes like this at Soldier Field. They are used to victories over the All Blacks. They are used to sublime performances. They are used to Six Nations victories and Grand Slams. And this is due to one man, the god, Joe Schmidt. The man is worthy of all the angelic effects that I could foster in my incredibly limited knowledge of Final Cut Pro. One of the reasons I idolise him so much is he is very similar to my coaching idol, the great Rod McQueen of Australia. For me, the greatest coach who has ever existed. As we may remember, the Rod McQueen Wallabies used deception and skill to target the fringes of the ruck, therefore making ground where they shouldn't have. Joe Schmidt's Ireland made the exact same plays to target the exact same area on the fringes of the ruck. This proved as effective for Ireland as it did for the Wallabies, even with the difference in years. Against the British and Irish Lions, Australia used their sequence plays. They'd run a hard phase off line out, followed by this, a dummy loop kind of inside ball option. Now, that there is very common with Leinster. That being Joe Schmidt's Leinster. We see the same midfield crash option that we see with the Wallabies. On the next phase, the play is switched. The dummy loop is run with Carney taking the inside pass on the fringes of the ruck. He makes his line, a brilliant one I might add, and then puts Healy in for his try. This dynamic is so confusing that the French cameramen actually don't catch the play. Therefore, they don't see the good things done by other teams, which is quite a common trend for them. However, the one thing that we did need to look out for was predictability. At points, Ireland could be quite predictable, and this is proven. This was the standard sequence that Ireland ran when they were actually in the 22. There would be 2 pods of 3, followed by a Tyg furlong carry. Once this carry went in, the backs would line up outside and run a play to attempt to get the ball to the end of the touchline. If this worked, that was great. However, they would make sure that they would reuse the entire line before setting up their next sequence. This sequence consisted of a further 2 pod carries off 9. So that'd be 1 pod carry, then there'd be another pod carry, followed by another play off 10. After this, they would then get back into the pod carries. We saw this also against Scotland. The first 3 pod goes in, followed by the second 3 pod, and the next sequence would be Tyg furlong. He does not disappoint. The off 9, Tyg furlong goes into carry. Then after that, it goes out to the 10 who runs the play. Once the play has been run, the Irish then line up outside to ensure that the full width of the field is used, and they're doing this to make sure they have the full width of the field on the return passage of play, as we start to see here. Same as England, we see the first forward pod go in. After that, we will expect to see the second forward pod, and we do. After this, we expect to see the 10 play, and guess what? We do. 10 play goes out of Puddy Jackson. Whilst incredibly structured, you do not throw away the success that this clearly won for Ireland, which is why it is not a case of revolution, but for Ireland now, it's about evolution. This Irish evolution still has its roots in the Joe Schmidt structures, but with an Andy Farrell twist and the influence of Catt, a quite sublime attack coach who's more known for his setback against Jonah Lomu in the 1995 World Cup. The Irish attack pattern is still based in the 3-2 system that Joe Schmidt had implemented during his time. We see it here, with the 3 pod lining up off Conor Murray to actually go into contact, and immediately Johnny Sexton's on the outside with his 2 pod ready to go. Under Farrell, however, the usage is a little bit different, as we're just about to see. The first phase goes to the 3 pod off Conor Murray. After that, the ball is recycled, and Robbie Henshaw steps in the first receive over the 2 pod. He takes the ball into contact. Now, these passes are relatively short compared to the third. The third is a very long pass from Conor Murray, skipping out all the forwards and putting Jordan Lama against Dan Biggar. The ball is contested before going up to Johnny Sexton, who puts the grabber kick in to gain territory. Against Scotland, we start to see what Ireland are trying to do. The 3 pod goes in and actually tries to generate quick ball, after which Johnny Sexton acts as first receiver for the 2 pod. Aki takes the pass into contact, after which we can see what has been generated. Hugh Jones is the second pillar defender here. That means that Ireland have gone across quicker than the Scottish. Therefore, Sexton draws Hugh Jones and puts Jordan Lama into the hole. This is all the derivative of an old league attacking system called the 60-40 line. This is a similar attacking system to the one that he developed as England attack coach. Based off his Wigan days, it is a very simple but very effective shape. It is based around the premise that the field is split into 10s, and you have one side of the attack which is a 60 line and the other side of the attack which is the 40 line. As we can see, the pod goes into contact here. On the open side, you have a connecting element of Johnny Sexton, Bundy Aki and Jordan Lama, who are running the 60 line to get the ball out to the wide channels. Against Scotland, we see the 60 line being used again, with Johnny Sexton combining with Gary Ringrose to put Bundy Aki up against Hugh Jones. Again, the 13 being targeted as we saw earlier. Later on in the game, we see another 60 line being formed with Johnny Sexton and Gary Ringrose combining to put Bundy Aki through the 13 channel, making a clear break and creating a lot of havoc. This entire system is designed to target the edges, which is why Hugh Jones and Nick Tompkins had such a bad day against Ireland. They were consistently targeted by this system, which is designed to find spaces on the edges. This leads us to the free pod separator. This passage of play shows exactly what it is and how the free pod separates the 60-40 line. The passage starts with a line out, which is 1, and the ball is passed to Bundyaki on the crash option. He goes to ground and the ball is recycled. Now, there are two things to note here. One, the ruck is formed to create a 60 line, and secondly, Robbie Henshaw is designed to target Nick Tompkins on this option. As we see here, he makes quite a bit of ground. On the reverse passage, we see a free pod go in as well as Bundyaki out wide. But the thing to note is that the free pod is the new 60 line generator. It creates the 60 line. A 60 line that contains Bundyaki out wide and Jordan Lama moving over to present more options to Sexton. Sexton runs the 2-pod option and instead decides to pick Bundyaki, who, as predicted, goes in to carry against Dan Bigger, making ground. Ball is recycled, after which we see Conor Murray pass to another free pod. The free pod, which, as we know, is the free pod generator. It creates a new 60 line, which, as we see, it does just that. The ball is passed to Sexton, who goes to Henshaw, who again targets Tompkins. On this occasion, it makes quite a bit of ground with the offload being given away and more ground being made. Whilst Sexton and Lama have moved over to the blind side, we see the free pod has formed just inside the 15-metre line, their 60 start point, with Henshaw just behind taking the ball to the 2-pod. This further restricts the fold over of forwards and backs over to the other side, meaning that the long pass from Murray, as we see here, gets outside of North into Stockdale and makes a huge amount of ground. This long pass off 9 is now quite a common feature of Ireland. Here we see Conor Murray do a little sneaky beaky look over to the right. He knows Jordan Lama's there. This pass is going to get Jordan Lama outside of the forwards and have a mismatch against Tompkins, again getting him through backs and getting him over the line. It's innovative, but can get them in trouble. This pass is made to a runner who is running an in-to-out line. This in-to-out line gets them outside one of the last defenders and therefore gets them the break. However, it is susceptible to the intercept, as we can see here. These patterns and dynamics were used against Scotland just as much as they were against Wales. In this example, we can see the free pod going in just inside the 15-metre line to actually create the new 60. Simultaneously, we have Gabby Ringrose moving over to get on the end of the pass from Mackie and overload the edge. Ringrose targets the gap in between the last two defenders as is per the Irish standard and offloads to Conway, going to ground. Here, we see another 60-line attack designed to put Aki in between the gap between the last two defenders, the standard Irish default. In this case then being Hugh Jones and Sean Maitland. Possession is secured, after which the ball is passed behind the free pod to Sexton to target the area where we can start another 60 attack. On this occasion, however, the ball is actually passed down the 40 line. The 60 line is not yet exploitable enough and therefore we need to buy more time. The ball is secured, after which the pass is made to the free pod, setting up another 60 line just inside the 15 metres. The ball is recycled, after which Sexton passes behind the 2-pod to Ringrose, who tracks across field, intending to try and put Marnie into the gap between the last two defenders, the standard Irish target. The style of play between Schmidt's and Farrell's Ireland is mainly mindset related. Farrell's Ireland are a lot less reliant on this structure than Schmidt's Ireland were. They want to break from the structure. They want to be running these strong inside lines to buy space. They want to be running a league attack that allows them to attack anywhere on the field. But whilst going down this route, they still have room for their Joe Schmidt style specials, the kind of lines and plays that make us fall in love with Irish rugby. They want to be introducing players like Jordan Lama who can make the broken field runs. As we've seen, they want centres who can split on either side of the field to make gains against the backs, but also combine in a passing game to create the overlap on one side. This is the style of play that they're trying to create with Andy Farrell. They're trying to break away from the structure and the predictability and the pattern and introduce dynamics that means they can break away from this and challenge any defence. If they can combine Schmidt's precision and attention to detail with the free-thinking abilities that they're trying to cultivate, you can imagine these scenes will be seen at the Aviva for quite some time to come. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed the video today. Wanted to just say a couple of quick words before I sign off for the night. I want to say thank you to everyone who's actually just liked, followed, subscribed, just even left a little comment at the bottom on Twitter and on YouTube, of course. It really does help. The feedback, in particular on the voice, do apologise for that. I was trying not to wake someone when I did my last audio track. But at the moment I'm trying to get out one a week if possible. At the moment I'm doing it around my full-time job, which means commuting in, studying for my job, and then on the way back I'm trying to compromise and get some of the cute clips and get some of the videos going. So I'm going to keep on trying to do that. If you did enjoy it, if you do have any requests, because at the moment I've got a couple of different things that I'm working on, but I'm more than happy for suggestions, so please leave a comment in the bottom. But otherwise, thank you very much for the support and thank you for taking it well. It's quite nice to get the kind of reception that I did. So cheers guys, and hopefully talk to you soon. Bye.